Hi everybody, Laura here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got two projects, what I like to call a two-fer one, and I'm going to be featuring the new Foliage Circle die. This just came out in the latest December release, and what I love about this one is it creates two die cuts, a positive and a negative. So if you're thrifty and nifty, not that you have to, but you could get two cards out of one die cut. So I die cut the foliage circle into a panel of white cardstock. I'm using Hammermill, but any white cardstock that you have will work just dandy. Okay, so once I pop out the positive, you have this leftover negative panel that just seems like it just is begging to become a shaker card. You know what I mean? It's like a shaker window waiting to happen. So before I create the shaker, I'm going to zhuzh up the foliage. And I had an idea to just use some scraps of solid color cardstock and die cut each one of the little leaves and blooms out of different shades of little scraps of solid color cardstock. Now I'm using an array. Sometimes I don't even know what brand it is when it all gets mixed up in my bin, but a lot of this is Simon Says Stamp. Use whatever you have. If you're like me, you got more than you need of scraps, and sometimes you just need good projects to use it, and this is one that is good. Okay, so different shades of green, just whatever I grabbed. I trim off that stem, as accurate as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want to get it right at the base of that circle opening. There's two blooms on each side of the leaves. So first I'll die cut the stems out of green, and then I'll die cut it again out of some pink shades for the blooms. So it's going to be kind of layered up. So there you have the little stem, and then I'll die cut the blooms out of some pink and warm tones. It's definitely not, this card does not have a holiday feel. It's giving me spring vibes. I don't know why I'm making a card like this in December, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just can't control what comes out, but you could probably customize this if you wanted to make it real holiday-ish. If you are still making holiday cards, are you? I have to admit, I am still making holiday cards. Every day I'm like, oh, I need one for this person. I need one for that teacher. And I do have a lot already made, but it seems like when I have a person in mind, I end up making another card for the person I don't ask. You know how it is, card makers. You make all these cards, and then you have somebody in mind, and you're like, oh, I got to make a card like that for this person. And I've already asked Emma, she's got her teachers. I'm always like, kind of feel them out. Do they have a favorite restaurant? Do they like to go somewhere for lunch? What do they like? You got to figure out what they like. You got to be a little bit of a detective, Emma. And so we'll see what she can come up with, so we can get some gift cards and whatnot for the teachers. But okay, so I'm just layering these all up. I'm using some Barely Arts glue to pop on the die cut pieces, and look at how that came together. Really easy, but it adds a lot of color. And I'm going to flip this over and adhere a sheet of acetate. Again, I'm using liquid glue. You could also use tape runner, or some of that RIFIC tape by Simon Says Stamp works great for the back of shaker cards. Okay, so there you have your shaker window. Now I have a cream card base. I love a nice cream card base with a window with a white panel. Neutral on neutral contrast. For the sentiment, I'm going to be using Sending Love from the Picnic Floral Sentiments stamp set. So I get the lay of the land on my MISTI, so I know where I want that sentiment to be stamped on the card base, stamping it with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And then I'm going to use some of these foam adhesive strips to create my little shaker panel. You got to have a little bit of foam for your shaker to shake. You know what I mean? And so just putting this around the perimeter, you want to make sure you don't have any gaps. You ever made a shaker card and you didn't seal all the gaps, and then you start shaking that puppy and out squirts the shaker filler? Been there, done that. Okay, so I filled it with some Studio Katia confetti. Not a lot. I probably could have added a little bit more. But, it is what it is. It's stuck down now. So there you have kind of a simple Sending Love shaker. Now for that leftover little die cut, the positive, I am going to strip it up. One of my favorite things to do is strip it up on cards. Okay, not in real life. I don't I'm just going to stop right there. All right. So I love to strip solid color strips of cardstock on background panels of my cards. It's like an instant happy rainbow. It never gets old. I never get tired of it. I'm taking one of the nested circle dies to cut right into that stripped up panel, which is slightly larger than my foliage circle die cut. I put a bunch of foam tape on the back, popping that up right on the stripped up circle. Look at how fun and happy that is. I'm going to make a square card. I believe it's 4.5 by 4.5 or 4.25 by 4.25. Doesn't really matter. Now for the sentiment, I'm using the new Basic Trio by Kathy Zilski. This one here is a classic. These are my favorite sentiments: hugs, thanks, and hello. I did a hello out of some gold metallic, a little bit of foam tape, pop it up, a few clear sequins here and there, and this one's fun. Now, which one do you like better? The shaker or the square hello? I mean, I think you know which one I like, right? This one right here. I don't know. That stripped up rainbow, it's just every time it gets me right in the heart. But I'm sending you love today. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.